And there are two main productions. We have teams submit proposals to us. We're actually going to be putting a reach out for proposals in October. And then they're selected later in the year, and starting in January through the end of the summer, those teams work to collect stories around whatever topic they proposed they wanted to explore. So this year we have two of those shows that have been developed over the past 8 months or so. And then along with that, before each show, each night, we have a different monologue being performed or a new piece of work that has been built around verbatim text or someone's actual experience. So that means in this year's festival, we're going to be featuring 22 stories.
Oh, my goodness.
Which is really exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the reason we're doing that is because a lot of our work is for private audiences. So the majority of what Erasing the Distance does is goes into high schools, colleges, workplaces. We'll be the keynote at a conference, and we perform for an obligatory audience.
Right.
To get a conversation started or to supplement some sort of educational scenario. And in this case, so we have a whole library of monologues that really don't see the public-facing side of things.
Okay.
That folks can just come sit and watch a monologue. So we're using the festival to lift those.
Okay.
Which is really exciting.
And so, what nights of the week is it on? Is it
It's going to run Thursday through Sunday.
Thursdays and Sundays.
And there's 2 shows on Saturdays.
Okay.
So if you're really in it to win it, and there's workshops on Saturdays. So if you're in it to win it, you can show up for the workshop, stay for a monologue, stay for the first show.
Okay.
Hang out with me in between, see another monologue, and see the other show. In the
Wow.
evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And how much? And so how much does all that cost you?
Well, if you want sort of free reign, free access to the whole festival, it's $45 for a pass.
Okay.
And that's come any night to anything in any way.
All of it, or if you just happen to see one show, whatever. If you
Yeah.
decide that's all these things happen, you
You're
can.
like, I
Okay.
want to go again.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
want to come back. I need to talk about it more. And then, but tickets range between 15 and 20 if you're coming for just a singular show.
Okay.
Whether you're a student or artist, senior discount, those sorts of things. But the average price is $20 to come see the show.
And where is it happening?
It is happening at the Straw Dog Theater Space,
Okay.
which is 1802 West Berenice
Yeah.
Avenue.
Yes.
Just a short walk from the Irving Park Brown Line.
It'd be cool to be in the Straw Dog space because they just Straw Dog and the tried and true Straw Dog, and I think it's awesome that they're opening a space to something cool like this. And I'm curious, and I meant to ask this question before: how does one find themselves moving from being an artist, and you're still doing that, obviously, but to want to do this, to kind of say, you know what, I'm tired of doing this storefront show, or I'm tired of trying to get an understudy in that equity show. I'm tired of whatever. To do this, to something that, in my frank opinion, means a whole lot more than any of the rest of that stuff.
Well, I'm going to be real candid.
Yes, please do.
I moved to the city to be an actor.
Yeah.
I did that for about 6, 7, 8 years, somewhere around there, and found that the majority of the work, at least the work that paid, was 30-second commercial spots for big box stores.
Right.
Or, I was selling sugar to children, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's cliche, but daily rejection, really took a toll.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, am I selling cheese sticks and, plastic toys? Is that really what I'm doing with my life? Am I making a difference?
Yeah.
And I was worn out. So I stepped away from that and stepped away from theater and art altogether and jumped into a little bit of the grass is greener side of things and took a full-time corporate position.
Yeah.
That was very short-lived. I learned very quickly that I exclusively have an artist temperament and that it just sort of sucked my soul dry.
Yeah, sure.
And I needed to get away from that. But that was a really, really tough decision to come back into the arts. And I remember waiting tables while I was trying to figure out what the heck I was doing with my life. And a friend of mine said, there's this company, Erasing the Distance. They're holding auditions. I think you should come out for the show. And I had every excuse in the book. I was like, I am washing my hair that night. I was like, I'm not doing it. She explained, it's a theater organization. They interview people. It's all about mental health. And I thought, I'm just not into it.
Yeah.
To me, it sounded, this sounds terrible. To me, it sounded like a pet project. It sounded like the kind of thing that I might, stumble into an event at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't in that space.
Because there's not a lot of that stuff going on, and so we don't have the understanding of how powerful and helpful it can be. But anyway, go ahead.
That's just it.
Go ahead.
So I will wrap this up. So she just hunted me down. She was like, you will come, you are coming, I've signed you up for a slot. She's like, it's this night, this time. She's like, you don't even need your headshot, you're going to be there. So I went and auditioned and got the part, and that show absolutely changed my life.
Yeah.
It was one of the first productions I had done in a really long time where I felt like I wanted everyone I knew to see it, and not because I was in it, but because of what the show said. It was a show about veterans experiencing PTSD, and one of the first nights of the show, so we always have a talk back after our shows, which I think also scares people a little bit, like theater talk back. No, I'm trapped. Yeah. But for us, it's kind of like Act 2.
Yeah.
The audience opens up after our shows in a way. Every night I'm like, will it happen? And after every single performance, it does. The hands start to fly, and people start to tell their own stories. And I'll never forget this. It was that first show I worked on. This woman stood up in tears, and she said that they had bussed over 20 of their family members from a couple hours away in Illinois to hear her father's experience. There was like 4 generations of the family there. And it was the first time any one of them had heard about what he'd experienced when he was in Vietnam.
Wow.
And she said they understood him in a way that they've struggled to understand him her entire life. And we looked over in this whole seating bank at the theater. They're all crying, wiping tears away. Then everyone else is crying, But it was that moment that I thought, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm here tonight for those 20 people.
Right. And not to take away from what it did for you.
Sure.
I mean, as an artist, as somebody who had, go into all these things with aspirations that, quite frankly, for the overwhelming majority of us, are completely irrational expectations and aspirations, because there's such a few that actually get to that level, to where, and so, but then you need to find yourself back, to find your way back to it. And again, was something I think that, it's not only probably has helped you, but helped, obviously, per the story you told, so many other people. It just opens up, and it's such a cool thing. That's why I think this kind of theater is so important. And it's a kind of, frankly, I think it's a shame that more people don't know about this kind of stuff. Not just patrons, but artists as well. And also people who might like a voice, people that you guys are interviewing.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you hear about the work. I think it's easy to jump to the assumption that it's a dramatization of an issue that we already know something about, that sort of thing. There's really no talking about it that does the justice of sitting and witnessing the verbatim text. We don't scrub out the ums, the buts, the changes in thoughts. We don't erase that casual conversational.
You're documenting.
And it really does change people. I'm not exaggerating when I say that I cannot count the times that usually teenagers have told me that we saved their life that day. That's not hyperbole. That actually happens. And so this is more, I'm the one benefiting, sometimes I feel, from all of that in a really big way. That in some ways it's selfish because the work is.
Nah, not at all. I don't think so. Because at the end of the day, we all benefit, and we all benefit that there is this platform, that there's this avenue for all of us. I think that's, I mean, really, because it's not just about the people that you've interviewed. It's not about their stories. It's about the people seeing it. But it's really about all of us. You probably put that energy out there. It's a good thing. It's a really positive thing.
And it's really cool. I find myself in social situations, as soon as somebody hears what we do or how I'm involved, they just unlock the little door, and out comes their story.
Really?
Yeah, all the
Well,
time.
I am not going to do that, Heather. I'm not going to start.
What's
I'm
your
not.
story?
Yeah, you don't want to know my story.
I do.
No, you
I
don't.
very
Trust
much
me,
do.
you do not.
I do.
I want to say thanks so much for coming in. I get to say, like, so fortunate to do this little gig once a week because I get to watch cool stuff like Force and Femininity. I get to talk about space with a guy who knows what he's talking about.
Was cool.
And I get to talk with people like yourself who are doing really, really cool, inspirational stuff. And we live in a world right now where positive energy is key. We have to have so much of that. We need that in spades. And so thanks for doing that. And
thanks for having me.
And so just real quick again, the fest happens the 6th to the 16th.
Yeah, it's called DocFest.
DocFest.
It happens from the 6th to the 16th. You can find out all the details at erasingthedistance.org.
Okay. It's an ORG, guys. But you could also just Google Erasing the Distance, Chicago or whatever.
You could totally
and that'll pop up too.
And if you're not into theater, we've got workshops that you can come. Those are free.
Really?
It's just,
Oh, I
it's
didn't
just
know that. That's
reservation
awesome.
only because we have a limited amount of
Sure.
space. But yeah, come check it out, a little bit or a lot.